What's up, gamers and nerds? It's John of Video Games in the World with weekly news number 17. Today is a special day as it is the 40th anniversary of The Legend of Zelda. At 12 p.m., My World of Timelines Episode 6 video will premiere focusing on the timeline of The Legend of Zelda, which includes Age of Imprisonment, but excludes the CDI games, which are abominable, yet remembered for their comedic animations and lines. Yeah. Now, I am very sorry that I could not do the news last week. I did have the flu, but I'm all good now. So let us begin with the weekly news. Enjoy! Over a week ago, we saw the State of Play 2026, and there's a lot of awesome games that are coming. A lot of these games are a definite day one purchase indeed. I'm very excited for Pragmata, Resident Evil Requiem, Castlevania, Belmont's Curse, Metal Gear Solid Collection Volume 2, but what I'm also excited about is God of War Trilogy Remake. Now, the first God of War video game I remember playing almost 2 decades ago during my time in college. My cousin introduced me to it, and it was an amazing experience to immerse myself in. An amazing experience to immerse myself in. We all know that from the very first game all the way to God of War Ascension takes place in the time of Greek mythology, and then the series made a return in 2018 with a new mythological setting, Norse mythology. During my college days, I still remember one of my friends saying, "Yo, Giancarlos, you gotta play God of War 2. It's so fucking good." Pardon my language. And when I played that game, they were totally right. It was amazing. It was one of the greatest games that I have ever played in my life. What do I think of the Greek mythology God of War games? The first one was phenomenal. The second one is the GOAT. The third one was amazing. Chains of Olympus was beast, and so was Ghost of Sparta. Ascension, I gotta say that it was pretty good too. Not as good as the other ones, but it was really good. I am so happy that the God of War trilogy is coming back with a remake from top to bottom. It's not a remaster, it's a remake. Will the gameplay of this remake be the same as the classic trilogy? Perhaps. Or maybe it'll be like the 2018 God of War video game and its sequel, God of War Ragnarok. Now, with the announcement of this remake, people wonder if the gameplay is going to be like the classic, like in the classic or the 2018 game that we do know. But there's one thing people are asking about this trilogy. Will this trilogy have the sex minigame? That minigame from the classic trilogy, which allows players to, well, you know. Yeah. That's right. People are asking and wondering whether the sex minigame is coming back. In my honest opinion, I hope it does come back and the developers do not censor it. Now, why would they want to censor the sex minigame in this remake? Well, mainly because of a bunch of prudes calling that minigame in the classic trilogy problematic and appealing to the male gaze. Yeah, I'm talking about the woke scolds. Even though I am no longer in the anti-woke circle because they have gotten a lot worse than the woke scolds, I still think the latter are mad annoying. I still remember the woke scolds a decade ago complaining about Catwoman's ass in the Arkham games, lack of fat characters, wanting sexy women excluded because it's so offensive, you know. A lot of it seems to have died down, and now the anti-woke grifters complain whenever there's some inclusivity in not just video games but also movies, TV shows, comic books, you know. Anyways, the sex minigames are, for better or worse, part of the Greek saga as much as the Blades of Chaos are. When it comes to the sex minigames in God of War, in the first game it's inside of a boat. The second game is in a bathhouse. In the third game it's with Aphrodite. In Chains of Olympus it's in Attica while fighting the Persians. And in Ghost of Sparta it's in a brothel in Sparta. The only game of the Greek saga that does not have a sex minigame is Ascension. Now, there are some people who say that they should just remove them because they're offensive and problematic. Puritanical prudes, you know. Others would say that they should keep them without any alterations. Me, I will have a more middle ground approach, such as giving the players a choice to either engage in that minigame or skip it if they like, and not censor it or alter it. The 2018 God of War minigame and its sequel Ragnarok didn't have any sex minigames, mainly because we see that Kratos is a changed man and is focusing on being a father to his son Atreus and is mourning his wife Faye, which of course it's understandable because a lot of people like to have sex with many people, but then when they realize that they're becoming parents, they have to stop these kinds of things and change for the better. You know what I'm saying? So what will happen with this minigame? Will they keep it for this remake trilogy or not? We shall see what happens. Ya lo veremos. Ya lo veremos. We shall see. I still remember the announcement of God of War Sons of Sparta in State of Play, which is a 2.5D video game for PS5. This is not the only game in the series that is 2D, as there was a mobile game titled God of War Betrayal that bridges the gap between the first and second games. Correct me if I'm wrong, that is also 2D. A lot of people love this game, but this game caught the attention of David Jaffe. Mr. Jaffe is well known for directing the Twisted Metal and God of War series. It turns out that David does not like what he has seen, going so far into calling it a dumb idea. He admits that he spent an hour with a game, but he's got some harsh words for it. On February 12, 1 week ago, Jaffe has released a 9-minute long video on his YouTube channel tearing the game to shreds over many of its qualities, including questioning the reasons Sony had behind greenlighting the project in the first place. You know, I could go into the specifics of the game, but to me, the more fascinating part about this is, why is this in existence, he asked. His harsh criticism was towards the game's story, which sees a young Kratos and his brother Deimos training to be Spartan warriors, venturing off to find a lost recruit and unveiling a major threat to society. Specifically, the series creator seemed baffled by the decision to make the game as a prequel rather than continuing to build further on the character development of Kratos. He called out the version of Kratos presented in Sons of Sparta as being too generic, akin to someone who would fit in as the main character of a WB Kids TV show or something, while also critiquing its pacing, which sees the action interrupted by multiple conversations in its early chapters. Although he has recognized the gameplay and the large trend in 2.5-dimensional video games, he had harsh words for production value. A number of buyers were not too happy with the game as well. Well, I must say that I haven't played the game yet, so I cannot tell whether I agree with him or not. But I gotta say that I don't like that this is rated T for teen, and I also don't like the price value for this game. It's still recent, so hopefully they might make some updates in the future. 2 years ago, Paramount Pictures announced a live-action adaptation of the comic book Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin, which is one of the greatest stories of the TMNT that I have ever read. A year ago, the project went dark, but now we have received a positive update. The darker comic-based film has raised questions about its future following months without updates. Speaking with Entertainment Weekly, co-creator Kevin Eastman said the movie has not been abandoned. "I just don't think the movie's off the table," Eastman said. "I think it's just delayed. I think it will happen." So, what The Last Ronin is about? The Last Ronin takes place in an alternate timeline where all the Ninja Turtles, except one, are dead. This turtle has the weapons of his fallen brothers, such as the katana blade, the sais, the bow staff, and nunchaku, and seeks revenge on the killer of his family, the grandson of Oroku Saki, also known as the Shredder. Now, we all know that the comics from both Mirage Studios and IDW are edgy and dark, but this story is way darker and edgier. Now, when it comes to live-action movies of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first 3 movies from the 1990s were rated PG. The 2014 TMNT live-action movie and its 2016 sequel, Out of the Shadows, are rated PG-13. This movie, The Last Ronin, will be the first R-rated live-action TMNT movie. Actress Judith Hoag, who portrayed April O'Neil in the 1990 live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film, also revealed she had been approached about appearing in The Last Ronin before the project was shelved, suggesting the adaptation had moved into early casting discussions. With creators still optimistic about its future, the film remains a possibility despite the lack of a timeline. When it comes to the TMNT movies, the 1990 movie is the best, hands down. The 1990 movie was more in tune with the Mirage comics than the cartoons. Secret of the Ooze felt more like the cartoons, but still had some edginess. The third movie was not really that good. The 2014 movie was pretty good, I gotta say. I thought it was going to suck due to Michael Bay planning to turn the Turtles into aliens. Thank God they scrapped that idiotic idea. Ugh! Pardon me for speaking like this, but it still pisses me off to this day. That idea of turning the Turtles into aliens? Jesus Christ. The sequel was quite an improvement over the 2014 movie, though. Paramount, don't screw this up, please. When it comes to Star Wars movies, this year we got The Mandalorian and Grogu, directed by Jon Favreau, and scheduled for release on May 22nd, thus marking the first Star Wars film since The Rise of Skywalker, which is considered to be the black sheep of the sequel trilogy. I still find it hard to believe that the sequel trilogy has just turned 10 in December. When The Force Awakens premiered, people walked away happy from the theater. The Last Jedi divided the fandom. As for The Rise of Skywalker, the less spoken about that movie, the better. And to think that at one point I thought it was going to be better than The Last Jedi. But I outgrew that belief after watching it the second time and giving The Last Jedi another chance. As for The Mandalorian and Grogu, I'm kind of skeptical after how The Mandalorian Season 3 turned out to be as said by this meme.
Not bad, but not good.
Yeah.
Now, we got some news about this planned project titled The Hunt for Ben Solo. At first it was a greenlit project, but as of last year, it got axed. Lucasfilm, along with Adam Driver and Steven Soderbergh, were totally on board with a spin-off. It made it pretty far up the corporate chain too before Disney decided to scrap it since Ben Solo died in The Rise of Skywalker. Following Kathleen Kennedy's departure from Lucasfilm in January of this year, Soderbergh is once again expressing frustration in a conversation with BK Mag. After 2 years of unpaid work on the Ben Solo Star Wars project, he is disappointed. We were all frustrated, Soderbergh shares in the interview about the process of making the Kylo Ren / Ben Solo Star Wars movie and what happened with The Hunt for Ben Solo. You know, that was 2.5 years of free work for me and Adam Driver and Rebecca Blunt. When Adam and I discussed him talking about it publicly, I said, look, do not editorialize or speculate about the why. Just say what happened because we all know is what happened. The stated reason was, we don't think Ben Solo could be alive. And that was all we were told. And so, there's nothing to do about it, you know, except move on. I agree. I don't know exactly if I would enjoy a Ben Solo movie because, no offense to Adam Driver, I didn't like the character too much as he was a Darth Vader wannabe with a bratty teenage attitude. I didn't like how Rey and Kylo's story became some type of a Twilight-style love story. With Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger, CEO of Disney, gone, there could be a possibility that the project might revive. Until then, we are focused on The Mandalorian and Grogu, Star Wars Starfighter, and the movie about Rey's new Jedi Order. That is something we have to wait and see how it will turn out to be. The Last of Us Season 2 premiered a year ago after waiting for 2 years since 2023. As you all know, the story of Season 2 is mainly based on The Last of Us Part 2, and so is the upcoming third season, and it turns out that it will be the final season of the series. This adaptation of the award-winning video game is very popular with viewers who play the game and those that didn't play the game. As you all know, the story of The Last of Us Part 2 focuses on Ellie and Abby. In the first half of the game, the story focuses on Ellie traveling to Seattle seeking justice for a loved one. The second half of the game focuses on Abby, a member of a militaristic group called the Washington Liberation Front, who becomes torn between her loyalty to her group and protecting two siblings who are part of an enemy faction known as the Seraphites, a religious cult distinguished by the scars on both cheeks. The story of The Last of Us Part 2 focuses on the themes of revenge, justice, and the tragic consequences that result in losing everything due to how far people are willing to go seeking justice and revenge. Now, we all know that Season 2 ended a year ago. In an extensive interview with Deadline, head of HBO programming, Casey Bloys, has suggested that the upcoming third season will indeed be its last. When asked if the third season of The Last of Us would indeed be the end for the show, Bloys said, "It certainly seems that way, but on decisions like that, we will defer to the showrunners so you can ask them." In an interview last year, HBO's Francesca Orsi said, "We don't have a complete or final plan, but I think it's looking like 4 seasons. I wouldn't want to confirm that, but it's looking like this season and then 2 more seasons after this and we're done." Given how we do not have a third game yet, I don't think there should be a 4th season. Still, no one knows how the third chapter of The Last of Us is going to go, because Naughty Dog has not said anything yet, as they are focusing on the upcoming video game Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. Guess we gotta wait to hear if Neil Druckmann is planning a third Last of Us video game. Now, a lot of people are going to hate me for this given how they hated The Last of Us Part 2, but I liked it. If you didn't like it, okay, to each their own. Cada uno con lo suyo. But don't force me to hate it just because you did, so get the fuck over it. That's all I'm gonna say. Bluepoint Games is well known for the remakes and remasters of video games such as Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection, Demon's Souls, and Shadow of the Colossus, was shut down by Sony, according to a report by Bloomberg. The closure means roughly 70 employees will lose their jobs. Bluepoint Games is an incredibly talented team, and their technical expertise has delivered exceptional experiences for the PlayStation community, a PlayStation spokesperson said in a statement received by Bloomberg. "We thank them for their passion, creativity, and craftsmanship." Bloomberg writes that the spokesperson also said that the closure was due to a recent business review. The most recent news out of the studio was that it was working on a live service game in the God of War universe, but that it was canceled before ever being revealed publicly. Man, this is bad. I still remember the collections of various games like Uncharted and God of War, not to forget that they supported development of games such as PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, Flower, Titanfall, and the acclaimed video game God of War Ragnarok. To all these employees, I hope you all find something so much better and continue pursuing your passions. I know how tough it is to lose a job and get laid off when a company goes under, and as said, I hope you can find something a lot better. So, good luck to all of you. And now, for the main event. It turns out that Paramount Pictures has found its Amy Rose. Warning, spoilers of Sonic the Hedgehog 3 incoming! 2024's Sonic the Hedgehog 3 focused on the introduction of Shadow the Hedgehog, and featured a mid-credits scene that teases Amy Rose in the next sequel of the Sonic the Hedgehog movie series. She had a non-speaking role in that scene, but a lot of people were happy to see a live-action Amy Rose. And now, it has been announced that the voice of Amy Rose in the upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog 4 is none other than Kristen Bell. Kristen Bell is known for her voice of Princess Anna in the acclaimed Disney movie Frozen. Not only that, she also lent her voice and likeness in the Assassin's Creed video games. Kristen is also known for her roles in movies such as You Again, The Good Place, Veronica Mars, and Nobody Wants This. She's also expected to reprise her role as Princess Anna in Frozen 3, as she joins another hit family franchise. Now, the character of Amy Rose debuted in the Sonic the Hedgehog video game franchise over 30 years ago, immediately developing a crush on Sonic and becoming a member of the core group. She is also known for being very fast and wielding her Pico Pico hammer. It turns out that Metal Sonic will presumably be the main antagonist in the fourth movie, given the Robot Army's introduction alongside Amy Rose. As much as I love Kristen Bell as an actress, I was kind of hoping that Lisa Ortiz would voice the character. What's really funny is that I did not like the 4Kids dub at first because the Sonic X anime under 4Kids was heavily censored and the voice acting sounded awful. But over time, the voice acting started to grow on me. At first, I didn't like Jason Griffith as Sonic, but his shadow was amazing. Over the years, Griffith progressed as Sonic and grew on me. And that, my friends, as they say, is that. I just want to wish all of you a lot of love, positivity, and happiness given how things are right now in the world. If you have anything to say about this week's news, then comment, like, subscribe, and share it with everyone you know. This is John of Video Games in the World, signing off. Happy gaming, everyone! Bye!